What up, nation? Welcome to another edition of the WiseTake Monday Night Football Showdown, breakdown, first look, whatever you want to call it, lineup build show. CK013 here. You can find me on Twitter at CK_013. And I, of course, represent the WiseTake Nation. You can find us on Twitter at Wise_Take. Or you can check out our website directly at WiseTake.com. We are a DFS content provider, a DFS premium community. We got Slack chats, articles, cheat sheets, live streams, not only on our YouTube channel, which you should be subscribing to. Hopefully, if you are watching this right now, you are either already subscribed or you are clicking subscribe and hitting the notifications bell so you're notified whenever we do put up some content. We do content a lot on this channel for NFL, and we got NBA coming up. We will be doing content for that during the week as well, Monday through Friday once the regular season starts. And just a little tidbit, if you are interested in playing some NBA preseason, make sure you check us out at WiseTake.com. We're going to be covering some of those slates. Monday night slate is one of them, so make sure that you're on the lookout to make sure you don't miss out. So anyways, we've got a showdown slate to break down. Later on tonight, we will be doing the first. So the WiseTake Nation podcast we're putting on hold for now, and what we're going to do instead is do a recap show. So that'll be myself, Patio Joe, Paulie D later tonight. Tuesday morning, Monday night, whatever you want to prefer. But I got some news, guys. We ran a contest on the last couple shows. Now, I think it was Monday Night Football we did. We hit our goal of 50 likes. We didn't have a contest winner because nobody got the score. These last two times, we raised the bar to 75 likes, and we didn't reach it. Well, we're doing a contest again, but we need 75 likes for this thing to take effect. And what we're going to do is the same as always. You got to predict the winner of this game and the score of this game. You got to get it right, winner and the score, in the comments of YouTube. But we got to hit 75 likes, guys. We hit 50, no problem. Right? We hit 50, no problem. We need 75. So if you want to win, if you got to push this to your friends and family to have them look at this and have them like the video, do what you got to do, because we're trying to give away a gift. And it's just not happening. So that's the goal for the video. 75 likes, do the dirty, drop sevens. That's what we do. Welcome to the WiseTake Nation. And with that said, it is time to break down this slate. So Cleveland against San Francisco. Let's go over the basics. Right now, we've got a 5-point total. San Francisco is at home. Line opened up at 3.5. They're up to 5, with 60% of the bets or so on the Browns. So that's kind of interesting. Some reverse line movement action. The total in this game opened up at 47.5, and it's kind of stayed there. It looks like 68% of the bets are on the over, which is interesting because both of these defenses have been decent, especially the San Francisco 49ers, who I believe are coming off a bye. I'll have to confirm that, but I believe they're coming off a bye. And they're on Monday Night Football, so they had a bye and an extra day rest, which is pretty awesome. Just going over things on a matchup level, the San Francisco 49ers have allowed the 23rd most fantasy points to quarterbacks, 30th to running backs, 15th to receivers, 25th to tight ends. So it does seem like they've been very good, number one, and if you are going to attack them, it may have to be with receivers. To confirm this, let's go down to some DVOA action. Overall, the San Francisco 49ers have the second best DVOA defense. Against the rush, 6th. Against the pass, 2nd. So they're pretty good. I don't think people realize how good the 49ers have been. We'll flip over to the other side. The Browns have given up the 12th most fantasy points to quarterbacks, 20th to running backs, 20th to receivers, 13th to tight end. A little better, a little more leniency when targeting against. They have the 8th overall DVOA defense. They're rated 19th against the run, 7th against the pass. So that's kind of just some matchup information for you guys to process as we go through. One thing I know about the 49ers is people don't realize that their running game is super strong. Their offensive line their offensive line running schemes are just sick, and their offensive line is doing a really good job with the runs. The issue, of course, is their multitude of their multiple running backs. I'm saying all kinds of shit. Listen, guys, I know last time I did a video, somebody said, "What the hell did I say?" All kinds of crazy shit. That's why people like me. That's also why people don't like me. But it is what it is. I am what I am. So that's what I'll say. The San Francisco, I'll always be interested in the run game. It's just they have like 2, 3, 4 running backs they could use, and Tevin Coleman is expected to be back this week. For those of you who maybe forgot he was even on this team, he was one of their offseason acquisitions. He was dealing with injuries last year. He got hurt again this year. The 49ers running backs get hurt a lot. Between Breida, somebody, I don't know, it's weird. Anyway, let's start with the hot spot. Odell, I would imagine, would be pretty popular, and I think he's a fine candidate. The accuracy, the completion percentages of his targets to catches aren't the prettiest, but the targets look decent. Against Baltimore, 2 for 7, that is not good. Rams, 6 for 9. You can see against the Jets, this is the kind of upside he has. And a lot of this came on one play. He had an 89-yard slant, took it to the house. So that's what Odell is. That's why you always have to consider him every week and when you're doing showdown slates in the hotspot, because he's got that kind of potential to go for 31 because of mainly one play, because he has the chance to break out that big one. Nick Chubb has looked awesome. He's looked really good. His last game against Baltimore, 88-yard long, right? Getting some work in the pass game. And what's good about Nick Chubb is he's playing so much. Like, this dude is just playing a ton, and he's getting a ton of touches. Last week, 24. The week before that, 23. The week before that, 27, and it should have been even more. They threw to him 7 times. So you can see the touches have been there, and he's been a big part of their offense. Garoppolo, I'm not crazy about. Not only on the slate, but in the hotspot as well. He hasn't been as impressive to me. It's been the running game doing a lot of the dirt. There is a receiving target of his that I like, and we're going to get to him in a second. Baker Mayfield just hasn't really shown me a ton of ceiling, so maybe it's a situation on our showdown slate for where raw points matter a little more. We can consider these two quarterbacks, Mayfield and Garoppolo. I think I'd be more likely to play Mayfield, but I'm not totally sold on that. Either way, I'm not like thrilled about either of them. George Kittle is the first guy that I'm like, all right, this is interesting, right? 10 targets against Tampa, only got 3 against Cincinnati, but that was a game they kind of dominated. 8 against Pittsburgh. So if the game matters, if the game's in there, he's a big part of that offense. If his team is dominating and they don't need him, they won't use him. But I think at this price, considering the upside Kittle carries compared to some of these other guys that are up here, I think Kittle is in strong consideration of the hotspot. Against Cleveland. Now, Cleveland hasn't been terrible. Their defense has been solid. 7th against the pass. They have given up the 14th most points to tight ends. It's not a lot. But it's one of the better ones we have on the slate. We just don't have a ton we're working with here. So, with that said, I do like George Kittle. In this example, we're going to plug him in the hotspot and just see what that opens up for us. Back to the San Francisco running game. I'd like to get involved in this situation. I'm going to have at least 20 teams tonight, so I'll find ways to do it. But their run blocking is so good. They're coming off of a bye. It's a situation that I think I want to get a piece of. So I'm looking at, for instance, Matt Breida has been super efficient. If you look at the rushing numbers, week 1 against Tampa, Tampa's defense can stop the run. They stopped Christian McCaffrey the very next week. Cincinnati, as a spot he should have smashed, and not did he smash. He only had 12 carries and ran for 121 yards against Cincinnati, a terrible, terrible defense. Week 3, 14 carries, 68 yards, not bad, 4.9 yards. Problem is, again, he's splitting. He's not getting all the carries. That's the issue. And that was with Coleman out. I believe that Mustard, same situation with him. 9 carries week 1, 4.4 yards a carry. Cincinnati, 13 carries, 83 yards. They just torched him on the ground. Pittsburgh, 12 carries, 79 yards. You can see that they are just killing guys on the ground. So you want a piece. You just don't know who to go to. Tevin Coleman is the cheapest. He was supposed to be the starter this year. I guess we don't have 100% news. He was limited at practices Thursday through Saturday. We don't know for sure if he's in. But as you can read here, they're definitely optimistic about him being ready to go Monday. So we'll see. If he's out, that makes it a little easier to play Breida, to consider Mostert, I don't know. But Tevin Coleman at 5,600 does seem kind of cheap. So for this example, we'll plug him in, and maybe that's not the way to go because he doesn't play today. But for now, you're going to give me the starting running back, just a little bit more expensive than technically the third string running back, even though he's been the second string running back. You also got Justin Wilson, who's been getting carries. This is the problem. There's too many guys trying to eat. This may be a situation, if you think the San Francisco 49ers, showdown slates are all about predicting the game flow, right? Predicting what you think is going to happen in the game. Not just what players are going to do. In order to pinpoint what players you think are going to do well, you've got to first think it to yourself, like, who's more likely, how is this game more likely to go? And if you think San Francisco is going to do well, and Cleveland's not, then I think you can even consider playing a couple of these running backs because raw points matter so much. Looking at some of the receiving targets, we've got Deebo Samuel, who's been fairly involved, certainly in consideration. You'd wish he was a little cheaper because the usage hasn't been there, but I think part of that is because the San Francisco 49ers have played well and they've been running the ball so well, so I'm a little reluctant to take some of these receivers. Godwin's usage this year has been complete shit. But these are two guys that like have that big play upside. You just wish they were a little bit cheaper on this particular slate. We talked about Mustard and Wilson. I think the 49ers defense is in play. I really do against Baker. I'm not terrified against this offense. I think the 49ers defense has been pretty solid. You can see they've had at least one turnover in all three of their games. They've had multiple sacks in all three of their games. They let up some points. Tampa was really the only one where they put up a monster score, but you see they have the upside. They have a really good pass rush as well. And again, their defense has been fucking good. So I'm actually okay, especially if we are playing the run game of the San Francisco 49ers. And in this example, I got one. Like I said, I don't hate the idea of going two. It's a tricky kind of, it's a funky, weird kind of slate. Robbie Gould, if you don't think there's going to be a ton of scoring, certainly consider him. Double-digit fantasy points in 2 out of his 3 games. They're at home. He's a good kicker. Has been for a while. So I think that he's in consideration if you need the salary relief. And we may need that for this example. We'll have to just see where it goes. Excuse me while I rub my eye because it hurts. Now, this seems like a little bit of a misprice. Like Dante Pettis, he's been dealing with a pectoral injury in addition to a previously reported groin injury. But it looks like he's playing, right? He's played in all 3 games. Week 1, well, I guess in week 2 he barely played. How does he get 0.64 fantasy points when he didn't do anything? That's weird. Against Tampa Bay, 1 target, 1 reception, 7 yards. So for weeks 1 and 2, maybe he was a little banged up. In week 3, they used him a little more. He got a touchdown. He only had 20 yards receiving, but he did catch 4 or 5 passes. At 3,400, if he can get you another 12 or he falls in the end zone, I don't think he's a lock by any means because, again, this team could just run the ball all day. But I do think at 3,400, he's interesting. Now, you're at a point now where do you want to take him and take a risk or just say, fuck it, I'm going to go with the kicker and take advantage that way? Some stuff to consider for sure. I don't know why I clicked that guy's name. Let's take a look at some of the Browns players. Right now I got Pettis in there. That's not, I'm going to take him out. So for this example, we talked about the 49ers. Now the Browns, we talked about Chubb and Odell already because we talked about him in the hot spot. Talked about Baker a little bit, which I don't mind in this particular build because we're so heavy because we got running backs, some defense. I don't mind Baker in this example. Say we go with some Odell action, 6,300. So we got Baker, Odell. We can go with Antonio Callaway, who's got the big play upside, just hasn't played. Callaway could see a reverse roll Monday with Higgins and Landry expected to play. Interesting. That was from October 5th. A reserve roll. Okay, a reserve roll. I said reverse roll because I'm a dumbass like that. But needless to say, no thank you. So even with this build, we're left in kind of no man's land. As you can see, we could leave money on the table, take that second running back, but I think the second running back we'd want to take is probably Breida, if Coleman is back. Now, again, I'm doing this build assuming Coleman's back. If he's not, take him out, put in Breida. Maybe you play Breida and Mozart. But then you got Wilson you got to consider. It's a tricky situation for sure. Let's see what happens if we take out Odell and we go to Landry. Now, we are coming. This is it's not exactly a straight cross, but Landry's pretty cheap. Landry's had the targets. Last week, he finally kind of put it together. Still has a ton of touchdown regression coming. Hasn't scored a touchdown yet. He's gotten a healthy dose of targets, 7, 7, 9, and finally got 10 against Baltimore, and he was able to exploit them and make some big plays. But you can see here, he's getting some long plays, 34, 25, 27. Let's go with Landry and see if that makes our build any better. Leaves us with 9,500. Just short of Garoppolo. It, again, kind of leaves us in like a weird place, right? Hypothetically, we take out Baker, we go Beckham. Doesn't do anything for us. If we go Garoppolo, I'm sorry, I wanted Baker in there. Baker Mayfield. As weird as this is going to sound, it sounds like in this example, I would either have to come off the hotspot guy or get rid of the 49ers defense, which I don't hate. I don't hate that. Looking at Cleveland's kicker, let's take a look at Cleveland's. The Seabird guy, 3,600. So here you can see another one with double digit potential at 3,600. If we go with him, there we go. So now, as you can see, this lineup is just an example, guys. I'm not using this tonight. At least I don't think unless I accidentally build it again when I'm building my teams. But this is an example. I got Kittle in the hot spot. I got Coleman rushing. Now, I do have a lot of Cleveland here. Probably a little more Cleveland than I actually need in a build where I'm expecting Coleman and the rushing game to do fairly well. But this is just an example to kind of show you. We've got the passing game of Baker. So this is a script telling us that Kittle and Coleman are kind of dominating, helping San Francisco control the clock. This forces Cleveland to throw a ton, to throw in a Landry, throw in a Beckham. Maybe they settle for some field goals. That's kind of the story that we're going for here. That's kind of the story we're going for here. If you didn't want to do this, you could switch him out and go to Pettis, and you have a little more money to work with too. So those are some options, guys. But anyway, this should be a fun slate. We'll see what happens. Remember, guys, it's not just about picking players. When you're building the teams, you have to think about in your head, how do you think this game flow is going to go? If you think a team is going to be winning most of the game, their running backs are going to be running the ball most of the game, most likely. If you think a team is going to be trailing, they're probably going to be passing a lot. That's just the way it goes. Standard. Doing dirties. Dropping sevens. That's how we do. I didn't get the 49ers defense in here. I am going to play them some. Their defense is good. But that's going to do it for this week's Monday Night Football Showdown Slate Breakdown. So I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Don't forget, follow me on Twitter at CK_013, and follow the WiseTake Nation on Twitter at Wise_Take. We will continue to drop this fire. Contest, you heard the contest. 75 likes, though. We got to hit 75 likes. That's just doing dirty, dropping sevens. And guess the winner of the game and the final score. Winner gets a full month of WiseTake DFS access. You'll get the Slack chat. You get everything. Slack chat, all the content that we do for all the sports. And we're doing some NBA stuff for preseason. So if you're an NBA guy or gal, we do have women members as well. We respect the shit out of them too. Come check us out. WiseTake.com. Do the dirty. That's what we do. We got day passes. Well, for football, we got week passes, but you know the deal. All right, Nation. For myself, the entire WiseTake Nation, as always, good luck.